Hey everyone, good morning, evening, wherever you are located and joining this session remotely. I hope I'm audible. Shelly, if you can just quickly let me know on the chat board. Great. So I see that I'm audible. Great to see the first ping from Puneet and hey everyone across the globe joining us for this session. So let me get started, right? Developers are often tasked to create beautiful digital experiences, but face many hurdles in the process. Today, we will show you how you can transform, adapt, and optimize images through URLs, all powered by AEM Dynamic Media. I'm Apurva Gupta. I'm the Senior Product Manager for AEM Dynamic Media, and today I'm joined by Karan, who is the computer scientist in the AEM Dynamic Media team. Both of us are based in education. Before we actually move into the details, let's look at the key takeaways the developer community can get from this session. Firstly, understanding the goodness of smart imaging, which is one of the key USP and differentiating of AEM Dynamic Media. Secondly, learn how you can presets using AEM Media to kind of really develop any sort of multi-platform experiences for your end users. And finally, learn how you can deliver visual effects and enhancements using AEM Dynamic Media. The intent of web developers is to create digital experiences that are performant and lead to high user engagement. Else, this directly impacts the revenues for the company. What are the common challenges that the developers face in creating these digital experiences? Images continue to be the dominant asset type, contributing to approximately 60% of the page weight. Secondly, there is an explosion of form factor and the launch of high resolution displays. Then, there is the constant struggle to lower the file size but not really impact the perceptual visual quality. There has been a Google report which states that if the page load time increases from 1 second to 3 seconds, the bounce rate increases by a massive 32%. And guess what? If that page load time increases to 6 seconds, the bounce rate increases to 106%. That's massive, right? You really wouldn't want your end users to abandon your site and not, leverage the digital experiences that you have built as the developer. Finally, leaving it to the browser to perform all the resizing and using fragmented tools out there in the market to create all of your imaging effects. These are a whole list of challenges that developers today are really facing to build digital experience that really engage with their end consumers. Presenting to you AM Dynamic Media, which is the market leading platform with proven performance at scale optimized for any screen. Today, Karan will showcase to you how you can offload all of these challenges that you face as a developer using AM Dynamic Media. Over to you, Karan.
Thanks, Apurva. Hello, everyone. I'm Karanjeet Singh, and I'll walk through some of the highlights to make the most out of the images via AEM Dynamic Media. First things first, many of you are aware of requesting an image via URL from the AEM Dynamic Media. It is simple, company name slash image name. But there are a couple of more ways as well. All of these requests serve the same image. The advantage of using SRC modifier is when you use it in conjunction with layers, which we will walk through and talk about later in this presentation. In general, SRC parameter is used to create an embedded or a nested image serving request. Common tips when ingesting image assets into dynamic media are: first, never upscale images. Always ensure that original image is larger than the largest rendition you wish to create. Second, in scenarios where there is no explicit quality setting in the URL, dynamic media defaults to the quality value set for the company account. Ensure that the quality setting is set to the desired value, which Adobe recommended value is 80, to ensure images are always served without unwanted pixelation. Now I will talk about the most sought of feature of AEM Dynamic Media, which is smart imaging. Smart imaging is a technology that applies Adobe Sensei AI capabilities by taking into account end user characteristics like browser, display, device, and network bandwidth to deliver optimized image. One of the key features of smart imaging has been browser format conversion. Smart imaging offers the capability to deliver next-gen image formats like WebP automatically based on end user's browser. Moreover, the quality is recalculated to keep the visual quality same as the requested image to make the image size as small as possible without any visual quality degradation. WebP is now almost supported by all browsers, Safari being the latest one to add as a support. We also have a new upcoming format that is AVIF, which provides even further compression than WebP. In Q3 2021, we added the support of AVIF image format, which has proven to provide even more compression. We also wrote an Adobe tech blog regarding these next-gen formats to compare WebP and AVIF against the standard formats like PNG and JPEG, and the results are pretty amazing. In H1 2022, we'll be supporting AVIF with smart imaging as well. On your screen, you can see both WebP and AVIF supports transparency and are a good replacement for transparent PNGs and GIFs. When compared to PNG, JPEG does not support transparency, but JPEG provides 78% average compression. WebP, on the other hand, provides 84% average compression, while AVIF takes it a notch further to 87%. But let's get to the major output format, which is the JPEG. JPEG is the most widely used format, and WebP provided 27% average compression on top of JPEG. Comparing AVIF, AVIF provided 41% reduction as compared to JPEG. This means AVIF reduced the WebP size further by 20%. All this is without compromising the visual quality. Apart from browser format conversion, the other common challenges are compounded by two factors: large variety of devices with different form factors and high resolution displays, and second is constrained network bandwidth. I am happy to say that we have brought in two new capabilities in smart imaging this year. First is the device pixel ratio, DPR, and second is the network bandwidth optimization. DPR will automatically detect the device or display and deliver the required image size accordingly. Similarly, network bandwidth optimization will automatically adjust the image delivery based on end user's network speed. As mentioned in my previous slide, in early 2022, we'll be adding AVIF support in smart imaging so that the quality calculation can be done automatically by dynamic media to deliver the best optimized image. But how does all these capability actually work? Let's have a quick look. I'll break smart imaging capabilities into three parts. First is browser format conversion, that is BFC. Second is device pixel ratio, DPR. And last is network bandwidth optimization. In BFC, you can see this is the same image, but is being delivered with same visual quality across all three formats. But just notice the difference in file sizes. JPEG to WebP is almost 44% size reduction, and compare this to AVIF, it's astonishing 75% decrease in size. Now coming to DPR, smart imaging will automatically determine the pixel density of the display the request is coming from, and based on the same, the image will be delivered. This slide shows the image without DPR, and the next slide shows with DPR 2.0. Now notice this fence around the lighthouse. I'll quickly toggle between the two images of DPR off and DPR 2.0 slides to show you the difference. You'll see in DPR 2.0 image, the image is sharper around the fence and has more details. Last is network bandwidth. Based on the network speed, we change the image to be delivered. Notice that during the excellent network conditions, the size is 162 KB, while for the worst network condition, the same image is being delivered for 60 KB. Now let's move on to the next topic, that is responsive images. You all know about image presets. Responsive image preset is where one does not define any width or height. When using AEM, AEM provides you an option to embed the image as a responsive image to any web page. Just embed this code and the result will be shown in the next slide. You can see that the image dimensions change automatically based on the screen width. Here, I'm showing an example of the same image with of the same URL on an iPhone and an iPad. Another additional approach to leverage responsive preset is with AEM Site's dynamic media component. Instead of referencing URLs for each breakpoint, add this DM component in the site's author page and select the responsive image preset and mention the relevant breakpoints. Author now needs to only drag and drop the image in the component, and DM component will ensure, based on the breakpoints, desired responsive image rendition is served. Now I'll quickly walk you through some of the visual effects and enhancements that can be achieved in AEM Dynamic Media. First is sharpening and resampling. Sharpening applies a basic sharpening filter to the layer or to the final view image. Sharpening enhances the image definition around the edges. Whether your images come from a digital camera or a scanner, most images can benefit from sharpening. Resampling is a mathematical technique used to create a new version of the image with a different width or height in pixels. Increasing of the size of an image is called upsampling, and reducing its size is called downsampling. Resampling modes help you choose the algorithm that can be used for scaling the image data. So next modifier is scale. Scale is used to change the visual appearance of an image, to alter the quantity of the information stored in a scene representation. The parameter SCL in dynamic media scales the composite image by the inverse of the defined factor. Over here, I have taken a pixel box of width and height 800 cross 800. And you can see the amount of information which SCL equal to 1, 3, and 6 can pack in an image. Next is crop and fit. Crop is used to extract a rectangular portion. Fit mode specifies how the scale factor is calculated, which is used to scale the composite image to the response image when the response image size is specified with width and height, and scaling is not present. We have been frequently asked how to avoid white spaces in rendition where the preset aspect ratio does not match the original image aspect ratio. In such scenarios, fit equal to crop can help to avoid the white spaces in the renditions. Talk about align, flip, background color, and rotate. Align modifier aligns the composite image within the new rectangle. Here are three examples of how we can align the image to top, center, and bottom of the view pane. Image alignment is one technique of wrapping one or sometimes both images so that the features in the two images line up perfectly. Flip is used to flip the image either horizontally or vertically or both. Here is, here is an example of flip equal to LR, that is left right. You can also use flip equal to UD, that is up down, or both, that is flip equal to LRUD. BGC, that is background color, specifies the background color of the view image. Here we are used yellow as the background color. Last is rotate, which will rotate an image by the degree of angle. Over here we have rotated the image by 90 degrees. In this slide, let's talk about playing with image light, colors, and some basic effects like blur, opacity, transparency. These are pretty straightforward examples. Once you have the slide deck shared with you, please click on the image and you will be redirected to the exact URL. This entire slide demonstrates some basic modifiers such as brightness, color balance, colorization, hue, saturation, image inverts, opacity, transparency, and blurriness. Next is color quantization. Color quantization is a process that reduces the number of colors in images without the loss of quality and important global information. The point to note is that color quantization works only with specific formats like GIFs and PNGs. Here, first example shows how to convert an image to a bitonal color with key color transparency and force colors to be just black and white. Similarly, next to example shows how the output in 16 color adaptive palette and 64 color adaptive palette will represent. Next, I'm going to talk about layering, shadow effects, and masking. This is my favorite to render some serious outputs out of dynamic media. Just have a look at top three images. Only these three images have been used to create the bottom three effects. Here, layering is used. One can simply define a layer and then add the image source using the SRC modifier that I discussed at the very beginning of the slide. Positioning is used to position the specific image layer on top of a composite image. Result is you can see that the Adobe logo on the top right of the lighthouse image. The grow function is used to dilate or erode an image. Grow along with layer, blur opacity, and masking is used to create a drop shadow effect in the second image. The last image uses masking of one image on top of another and uses blur to blur the base layer. Now, all these examples also work with Smart Crop as well. Here is a quick example. The first URL, we are referring to a Smart Crop image with a crop name called small. As you all know, crop name are defined after a colon after an image name. In the next, we are using a sample fade image, which we'll be masking on top of this. I'm using background color as black to show you just the fading effect. In the third example, I am demonstrating how I have applied the second image on top of the first image. Note that this way you can add many layers to your composite image. Last on our list is borders. One can easily create borders using extend, effect, and grow functionalities in dynamic media. First example is simply using extend to create an extended border by extending the image in all dimensions and adding the color to the border. You can add the color of your choice. Next is using effect, blur, and opacity to create an outer shadow. And last is using a shadow effect, grow, and opacity to create an inner shadow. So summary for today's presentation is that we learned how images can be delivered in a headless manner using URLs to meet the use cases across e-commerce, CMSs, email campaigns. We leverage the goodness of smart imaging and score high in Google Web Core Vitals on the LCP metric. We deliver multi-platform digital experience using responsive image presets that also work with AEM Sites dynamic media component. All this has been achieved using just one solution, that is AEM Dynamic Media. You may refer all the sources shared from the slide deck that would be shared later. This includes the link to the smart imaging, the tech block we have written to compare the next-gen formats AVIF and WebP, responsive image presets, and all the modifiers we have discussed throughout this presentation. Finally, we look forward for all of you to continue the conversation on Adobe Experiencing Lead. So that's all from our end. Hope this session was informative and helpful, everyone. Thank you for your time.
We are open to questions now. I see one on the chat board where Joshua is asking, could you discuss SVG support? Karan, would you want to take that?
Yeah, so SVG are supported in dynamic media. So SVG support, you can directly request an SVG file using IS content URL, and also you can request its rendition in any of the output format, be it JPEG, be it WebP, be it AVIF, be it PNG, using normal IS image calls. So yes, SVGs are supported.
Thanks, Karan. We do have 10 minutes remaining. I would really request everyone who has joined this session to go through the smart imaging link that we have shared on the tech blog. A lot of good information and details are there around, the benefits that you can get with WebP, with the new file format, which is AVIF. And I really look forward to everyone requesting and raising a support ticket to get hands-on all the smart imaging benefits that we have, the latest enhancements that we have discussed on DPR, network bandwidth optimization. All of this will really help you improve the Google Core Web Vitals score, specifically for the largest contentful paint, which is meant for the loading of your pages. So I think really look forward to everyone's support in understanding smart imaging, raising a support ticket, get that activated on your custom domains, and you can really leverage great benefits out of it. Okay, there's one question from Jen. Can these URL parameters also be used in Scene 7? So yes, Jen. So Scene 7 now has got rebranded to Dynamic Media Classic. When we talk about these URLs or whatever we have discussed in today's presentation, it is applicable to both Dynamic Media Classic customers as well as to AEM Dynamic Media customers. Okay, there's another question from Raf on any recommendations as far as caching these images and availability on the CDN. Karan, you want to take that?
Yeah. So when you take dynamic media, you get an Adobe bundle CDN. We have a caching layer at the CDN, and we also do have our own caching layer. So yeah, not to worry, you have your images cached for faster response time.
Yes, and a typical time to live that we recommend is 10 hours, but you guys are open to changing the time to live based on the use cases that you're building for your digital experiences. As of now, these settings is all done via the Dynamic Media Classic interface. We are also porting these features and settings onto the AEM interface. You should be able to leverage AEM interface from Q1 to make all of these setting changes rather than having to leverage two different user interfaces. Okay, there's one
So I
question
have
from,
a
yeah.
question in Q&A by Mayur. Do these transformations happen in real time? And do we need to account for compute power to make sure that we get the desired performance? So you need not worry. All these transformations do happen in real time. That is the main benefit of smart imaging. So in other products, you may uh, not see these happening in real time. They take some processing and it eventually happens. But in dynamic media, you can request all kinds of modify transformations in real time. And you need not worry about the compute powers. We got that covered.
Great. So there's one from Joshua on smart imaging. If we already have smart imaging enabled, do we request any updates to get AVIF support? So let me just clarify here. As of now, we have launched AVIF support only as part of the format modifier, which is FMT, which you use in your URLs. In sometime in H1 or early H1 of 2022, we will also be launching support of AVIF within smart imaging. At that point in enabled. As usual, you'll need to raise a support ticket and you can leverage that. But yeah, in the meantime, yes, please do go ahead, try AVIF file support in the format modifier. Just bear in mind the quality setting with AVIF file format needs to be slightly less as compared to WebP. Else you may just not get the benefits of AVIF and you'll all wonder, AVIF is not really giving me that compression that Karan spoke about. So I think AVIF at a lower quality is equivalent to WebP at a higher quality without, really degrading your visual perceptual quality. So do try your hands on the AVIF file format and please feel free to give us feedback um, either through the links that are pasted on the chat board, raising a support ticket. Always happy to get feedback from our customers. Does smart imaging modify the image rendered for different breakpoints through browser resize or only on page load? So it happens on both, Leila. So whether you're doing it on browser resize, in case you're using the AEM sites, image core components, or even the dynamic media foundation components, and you are leveraging smart imaging on your custom domains, then you will also need to mention the various breakpoints and automatically smart imaging modifies the image rendered. You can resize your browser or you can change your monitors or you can switch to a different page. In all the use cases and scenarios, you see the benefits of smart imaging and the dynamic media renditions. Is dynamic media also applicable for videos? Absolutely. Today's session really was just focusing on images. given images still contributes to the maximum asset type on your digital experiences, but dynamic media definitely is also meant for short form videos. So yes, absolutely, videos are supported in dynamic media.
So I think I should be audible now. There was some network glitch. So I'll talk more something about AVIF support. So as Apurva mentioned, AVIF is now supported with FMT parameters. So we are already under works for smart imaging. And if anyone is interested for doing a beta test or something, do reach out to us, not a problem. Quick thing, like as Apurva mentioned, for example, default company settings for JPEG will be 80. And when you do a JPEG at quality 80 and WebP at quality 80, you see a reduction in file size. But when you do the same thing with AVIF, that is AVIF at quality 80, you won't see a size reduction. To see the size reduction, you need to drop the AVIF quality significantly. And that is the nature of AVIF to allow you deliver a shorter image at a much lower quality, keeping the visual quality same. And what does this means is for the new upcoming larger screens, full size display, wall size displays, you can even deliver a higher quality image, which JPEG or WebP could not do that. So that is the advantage of AVIF format. So even you can deliver small size images and you can stretch the images way beyond for your newer and larger screens.
Okay, I think we can take one final question from Rima. Any configuration needs to be made for assets, image or videos if they are larger in size? So not really. I think if for images, typically we look at the max pixel that we can deliver. That's one of the configurations you need to make for images. Again, on classic interface, which we'll be porting over to AEM very soon. And based on the max pixel that you're configured for your dynamic media company, that same is delivered. For videos, we as of now support up to 2 GB of videos to be ingested. In 6.5, we also support up to 15 GB of videos. There are some specific configurations you need to do for that. I can share the link offline with you, Rima. You can reach out to me. But apart from that, anything larger in size are all completely supported.
So we also have one final question from Frank, and I've replied to it, but I'll share it with the audience as well. For regarding AVIF and WebP, are there standards or recommendation for using these formats with a fallback for older browsers, that is Internet Explorer 11? So you need not worry. Smart Imaging will convert your JPEGs or PNGs to WebP or upcoming AVIF only and only if the end user's browser support it. If it's not supported, it is smart enough that it will not convert. Also, it keeps in mind that the final output is definitely smaller than the original output.
Great. So I think we are up for time. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining this session across the globe. Really appreciate all the feedback and questions you have provided us. Feel free to continue the conversation on the link that I shared earlier. You can always reach out to Karan or myself as well directly for any of the feedback you have on what we discussed today. And thank you once again for joining this session. See you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, everyone.